Hello and welcome to Aloof Adventures. We already have one video out, and not realizing it, there was an error in our editing. Looks like I may have moved half of the video before I actually exported it from the editing program, and they couldn't find half of the file that we had in the first video. So we're going to do a continuation of that so you can see the rest of what we have. Again, I need to apologize for that, and hopefully we'll do better in the future.
We want to show here the progress as we're making as we move along in the project. If you look at the port and starboard sides of the helm, we began to remove the gel coat from the top of the top deck. Also, you can see the holes that are filled where the hardware went. We began to fair and lay glass behind. We lay glass first and then fair. You can see that on the right side, the fairing, the fill, and the new area that we're going to fill. We had to fill nearly ½ an inch on the inboard side of that deck and 3/8 of an inch on the outboard side. It took 7 layers to fill that area, and we had to add extra in other spots too to make sure that we didn't have too much fairing compound in there. We just want to show how we tapered. If you look at the edge of the new glass, you can see the amount of glass we put in there and the taper that we built in. Here's another section here. We just want to show here, in the larger area, how the fill process went. There's the same area. As we moved up forward, we were only able to do about 30 inches at a time because of the size of the mat and also the sun, the heat here in Florida. We're just, as you can see here and there, in this section here, we've started to sand the top of the house, and the fairing and the fill are almost completed on the side decks. If we look where the stanchions are for the mast, we did not fill that area because we needed to remove those stanchions and fill that area of the stanchion with solid glass underneath. We felt this would stiffen up that and strengthen where the stanchions are. This is the hatch that we had, the anchor chain locker hatch, demonstrating on how far we had to move it back to allow for the shank of the anchor to function properly with the windlass. You can see the progress we've made. The hatch is formed and in place. And as we move along forward here, you can see the lines that the boat has. And we had to try to keep those lines. You can also see the hatch is completed. The top is there. But see the blue lines? The blue lines are there to allow us to follow the same camber and the straightness of the deck. We use those lines to guide us in forming the deck. This is the windlass installed, dry fitted. Obviously it's not installed because we're not painted and everything. Now we're going to move back to the cockpit section and get an overview of the starboard side. But the cockpit, you can see it needs some major work also, along with everything else. This is the upper deck. We decided to while we're laying the glass, to put more structure in the deck area. So we cut out glass and about 4 inches on the lower side of the balsa wood to about 6 inches on the upper side of the balsa wood. And then we decided that we would lay solid glass in those areas. As you can see, we began to fill Now, we had to work pretty fast on this because we could only do, we had to do sections at a time. But the most important thing is that we had to cover the area quickly so that the weather did not affect the work. As you can see, everything is filled here, and we've laid 4 layers of biaxial cloth over everything. So we have and we did that on all the horizontal surfaces on the upper deck. And as we laid the glass, we sanded as quickly as possible too. That way the epoxy did not get so hard and made it difficult for us to sand. And we can see our progress as we just moved the layers further back and further back until we finally had the upper deck filled with the glass. Here we're showing, we started doing fairing here on the bottom right hand corner. You can see the blue lines again. So as we moved our batten, we looked at the horizontal lines along with the curvature, and we made marks to know where we needed to fill. We've got this area here. We can see that we've moved the glass all the way back past onto the cockpit. So those, we're moving along. We set goals, and that was like a big goal for us to finish covering the decks.
So today what we're going to do, we're going to make some improvements in our deck organizers that we're putting in. We're going to be installing the deck organizers a little bit different than the way they were originally set up. So this is where we're going to put our deck organizers. We've already run the rope and figured out where the winches are going to go, and where all the stainless steel handrails and all that are. So that's where they're at, both port and starboard sides. So the deck has a curvature to it, and what we're going to do is I put a straight edge across this. You can see on either side that we have, we get some rocky motion. So what I need to do is I need to sand down the center to bring everything flush with this rule here, and that'll take the stress off of the deck organizer. So I put this mat up just for that, so we can even out the deck, and then we'll do a little bit of fairing around the edges to blend it in, similar to what we've done here already on in the hatches and stuff. So anyhow, everything will blend in nicely with the deck and help water run off and all of that. It's got a pretty good incline on the deck anyway, but still it'll make it more aesthetically pleasing, at least in my view. So we're going to get to it. Thank you for watching the video. As you can see, we've been doing a lot of narration, trying to rebuild the history of the project thus far. In the future, we're going to try to do more videos in a do-it-yourself type instructions, and hopefully they'll be able to help you out in your project. And thanks again for watching, and see you next time. Remember, subscribe and like.